traders. So, is Forex where the cool kids are hanging out now? Are we in a bull market and we don't even know it? Looks like cryptos are about to break out and up. And finally, don't forget this Friday, non-farm payrolls. Right, so let's have a quick look at the economic calendar. So yeah, my main thing is we'll be kicking off the week immediately with US news happening over here, with that on the Monday. Then we will have all of this there's just a whole lot of stuff actually happening this week. There's no real expected change happening with the Australian dollar. It's expected to stay the same. We've got Kiwi employment change numbers and unemployment rates. Okay, so for the most part, that's okay, nice and stable. We will have some increased, I would expect some spike on the US around that. Around the ADP numbers. We've got ISM, PMI data coming out as well, so plenty of that stuff. But really, I would expect the biggest moves to be around about the rate hikes. And the reason for that is that it's minor rate hikes, and the market wants to keep pushing that because it wants to get inflation under control. But it isn't just about that. What the US is trying to do is trying to get the population used to higher interest rates. In other words, the idea would be that the interest rates would be higher actually going forwards, and that they don't really want to bring it down. However, there's a lot of fear about triggering another global crisis, and therefore that's why the market's hypersensitive about that. We've got European monetary policy statement coming out as well. The Eurozone at the moment seems to be doing incredibly well, so there don't seem to be too many issues there. I mean, there's issues everywhere, but it seems like the media is giving everything a terribly negative vibe, when actually the easiest way to know that things aren't that bad is to ask yourself, well, could it be worse? And the fact of the matter is, yes, it could be worse. It could be a lot worse. We could have sky-high inflation. We could have massive unemployment. We could have the stock market just tanking. We're not getting those things. So actually the environment is not as bad as the media is making it out. We've just become globally hypersensitive to bad news, and now the smallest thing is a massive amount of drama. And that if that isn't the case, we're clearly missing something, and something's going to happen. So I get it. We live like that at the moment, but we need to just maintain some perspective on this. US unemployment claims, we'll just have to see how those come out at the moment. And really, we've got some good figures here. But on Friday, we're going to have a look and see where that expected volatility. So that being said, let's go across and have a look at the charts. So you can see here, just looking at the VIX, volatility is dropping. Okay, so it's not really a sign of a market on edge. It's important to emphasize that. Let's look at the dollar index. The dollar index itself, quickly jump that in. You can see it's trying to break high. It is technically in an uptrend. It has broken the previous high, so we've got a high, low, higher, high. It is still sitting at that major level, potentially of support. So I'm just going to mark in another little level there. It is still sitting at that, and therefore it isn't impossible that we could see it start to shift. But right now, it's just bobbing about. If we have a look at the euro dollar, we can actually see that euro dollar has got a little bit of a level here, and I definitely think we should also mark that. So we've got 1.1050, let's call it that. And it is attempting to break higher, but it is struggling with that, and therefore we could see a bit of a drop low. We've got some bearish divergence creeping in. Usually implies that we're going to see price come back down. Sterling, on the other hand, looking good. We've definitely got bearish divergence there, absolutely, but we had a good solid break to the upside there. So Sterling looking good. If you look at it from a monthly perspective, considering how dire it seemed when we saw it near these lows last year in September, it looks as though it's very much kind of recovering from that. So that doesn't look so bad as well. We've got Aussie dollar trying to bounce off and find support here, but actually looking really weak. So I still expect this to continue down. Aussie dollar might provide some good opportunities on those types of pairs. Kiwi, on the other hand, is definitely pushing back a little. I'd like to see if it comes back into this area of resistance in this area and see what happens. Dollar yen, boom, we saw this massive move. So although it was in an uptrend, this move was just, when I say it's just gargantuan, just such a big move. And so there is data to support the idea that we might see the yen pairs push higher, okay, similar to last year. And the question is that going to be driven by that dollar doing the same thing it did last year, or is just Bank of Japan, is that just going on its own thing? What are they anticipating in with regards to the US dollar? Dollar Swissy, also double bottom here, so this is a bit of a this is a trade I'm in at the moment, but a nice little bit of a double bottom. Some bullish divergence. My expectations to see how strong. We'll see if we break the highs. If we don't break the highs, we start coming back down, we might be leading to a bearish breakout. So we've just got a bit of some. We've got some mixed signals here. We've got a solid bearish engulfing candle for dollar CAD, so I do expect that to come down a bit this week. Russian ruble just continues to creep up here. So somewhere there's some transactions going on with it, but nothing mainstream. Euro Swissy is, I think I can actually remove Euro Swissy from this list. I don't need it here because we're not really accessing it on a regular basis. It's not near parity. It's not important. Okay, so gold. Oh, before I do that, let me go on and have a look at the indexes for the individual pairs. So I want to have a look at them through. So let's go look at euro, see how that's performing. You can see euro dollar did break higher, so that's really nice. Euro dollar in isolation is looking really strong, and those euro pairs are looking great. There's some amazing opportunities this week on those euro pairs. GBP also breaking higher, some really nice strong. So the pound is strong. Australian dollar stronger within this downtrend, stronger if we look at it there on the weekly, holding above that level stronger. So that's also a good sign. Canadian dollar is continuing to push higher, but really battling with some resistance. They're not offering a lot, and finishing off with the Japanese yen. We can see that is breaking higher. So we've got individually separate currency pairs are strengthening across the board. So we've got the euro is looking quite strong at the moment. The pound also, surprisingly, the Japanese yen, and the US dollar a little bit, but not as strong as those pairs are. And then we can quickly jump across and have a look at the cross pairs. So the ones in particular that I like, man, euro dollar is not looking bad. I'm looking for some pullbacks this week on this once we get that breakup. But then if I have a look at some of the euro pairs, euro yen, big breakout. So I'm looking for pullbacks, any kind of opportunities there. Euro CAD is currently on its way, pulling back a little bit of bearish divergence there. So we'll see how that goes because it's bouncing off that resistance level. Still on my watch list, Euro Aussie looking good. So looking for some really nice pullbacks here. We've had some good trades recently. Still looks pretty good to me. Euro Kiwi as well, starting to go parabolic. So please tell me you can actually see this. This is starting to go parabolic, and it's also produced the bearish candles. It's a bit overextended here, and therefore it could find its way back down to 1.75, which is all the way over here. But then there could be some good buy opportunities there. So that sits on my list there. We've got pound yen looking really nice and bullish right up until the close. That's absolutely crazy. We've got pound CAD, also nice and bullish, so pullbacks here. Very small, gentle movements, so possibly for intraday trading could be quite good. Pound Aussie, also looking good. Overextended, need some pullbacks here. Pound Kiwi, also looking good. So same thing again here, also looking nice. There were a couple that I looked at with regards to the Aussie pairs. Aussie CAD, potentially breaking low, not there yet. Aussie Swissy, potentially got a pullback here and a continuation to the downside. Kiwi Swissy, same thing. Pullback here, is it a potential change in direction? There's no bullish divergence here, but that doesn't mean that it won't potentially double bottom on the next move down. So I will keep an eye on that. And that's it from me. But a lot of those from me on currencies, a lot of different things happening there. Okay, gold. So gold's got a solid, just consolidation. You can see the last 2 weeks it's done very, very little. But so when it does move, it's ultimately going to make a big move here. Silver just keeps trying to push higher. It's trying to stay above this 24 level and is also closing near the highs on Friday. So right now it's a little bit stronger than gold, and it may well actually manage to break this mold and then move higher. Then quickly run through some of the other metals. So you can see copper still on the weak side, still producing a lower high, lower low on the weekly, testing support at the moment, but leaning bearish on that one. Natural gas, still waiting for this to turn around. It has started to come back down here, so I'm curious to see if this week this level holds, and we do manage to break back up above, or just break back up above that 2725 level, see if that's going to be the case. Then moving on to crudes. So crudes are holding at support, very nice bullish engulfing candle here, most likely going to ping pong. You can see it's been range bound here, drop below that, push back in, and still seems to be range bound again. Okay, so it's not showing a lot of the monthly. There might be some shorter term trades to the top of the range if that's going to be the case. Check Brent crude out as well, trying to get back into that range. So certainly seems to be the case. If we move away and have a look at some of the other commodities of note, we have got wheat. I'm going to remove this now. There's very clearly no more divergence in this case. It's gone. It's worked its way out of the system. There's nothing really happening here anymore. So now I'd be looking for pullbacks and shorting opportunities, continuation to the downside at this time. Coffee. Pulling back in here, that's just a very strong rejection there, so we'll see, but it's still generally an uptrend on the weekly, and therefore I'd look for it to possibly move down a bit more in towards a 180 level and find some support over there. Sugar, just on fire. I mean, that is just an insane monthly candle. That's going to be very overextended, and when it does come down, it's going to come down quite a bit. Certainly it has that potential to come back down towards $22. So this has been a big mover. This is almost better to trade intraday than it is daily, because that was the last weekly entry opportunity here. There was a possible entry of opportunity over here. There was an entry on the breakout here. Possible breakouts on lower time frames here. I mean, they haven't been a lot considering how fast this market's moving. Cotton, we just keep talking about it, not really showing much clarity, and it isn't. This is almost qualifies to get dropped from my weekly analysis because you're just wasting my time. Okay, moving on to the global indices. Very nice, guys. I really like this nice strong bullish finish. I had a trade. Oh, and that's a really nice weekly candle. Looks like a nice continuation to the upside there, and the monthly is looking good so far. Okay, so all this looks bullish. I had a trade on Nasdaq, licking my wounds a bit, just annoying because I took this very nice bullish candle set up over here, triggered in, ultimately stopped out here, and then of course it does take off. But that happens. That is the thing. It's frustrating. You do think as time goes by that you will have that certain losses, you know, they just still happen. You get this is effectively almost an engulfing move to the downside. It's an engulfing candle. Finishes back up. We're back up at this level, and this week I want to see it continue and push on. But just to kind of highlight, it's not always all winning trades or losing trades, even when I'm anticipating a move in a particular direction. And it's particularly frustrating when it drops through that level just to reverse. And so this happens to the best of us, of course. And I don't mean that isn't just me. It happens to everybody. Nice little bullish candle there. It's a very nice bullish continuation, but it stopped again at this level. I need to see follow through. This is crucial. Going on to the Russell 2000, that actually is just not offering a lot at the moment, and I'm just going to pay attention to it as it gets closer to the levels or closer to the highs, but otherwise it doesn't really deserve much more attention at this time. You can see I was talking about how we had a big move on the FTSE, and it's had a small correction, and it's already trying to push a little bit higher. So this is going to be the barrier, this is going to be the barrier area at about 7,900. That's where it's going to bump its head, but if it breaks through that, it's got back up to 8,000. So it doesn't look so bad. The DAX, look at this, solid bullish engulfing candle. Ridiculous that it's just covered all of that and closed up right near the high. So Friday had a strong finish. Will that follow through on Monday, or will we have a bit of a break? Because we had some big moves on Friday, and therefore Mondays can be used to take a break. We've got a bit of a public holiday in the UK, so markets might actually not do that much. We'll see. The US is still online as far as I know, I think. We've got a pullback here with the ASX back into a level of support. Nice little bullish candle. Yeah, this could well see itself continuing up. And that actually, because of course, keeping in mind that Monday is we're in May now, right? So we've got some bullish candles. So if we just quickly have a look at some of these, what are their candles like? They're nice and bullish. They're not. We didn't see massive growth, but we did see bullish follow through. So good. We got Nikkei. Look at that. So I think that I've said it in these videos that if we saw the Nikkei break out of this consolidation to the upside, then I think we could. It's not that crazy that we are in a bull market. Okay, it's not that crazy. We won't necessarily think about it. My personal metrics are the weekly, so that there's a whole lot of things that have to happen. But the first one is that we're above the 50-period moving average. We need an uptrend in price action, and we need to be above the 50-period moving average. And I think, without exception, that's above the 50. I'm just looking over here, by the way. I'm just looking at this. That's above the 50. And in fact, look how long it's been since price really got back up above the 50. And that's a pullback and a bullish candle. So usually, ladies and gentlemen, this would be the start of the next bull run. Nasdaq is above it. I've highlighted that because that's a nice bullish candle. I've highlighted it for that reason. Russell isn't. So the Russell 2000 is not, the FTSE is, we know that already. This is already, so the DAX is, the ASX is, and the Nikkei is. So there we go. Look at the Nikkei's battle to get above and stay above that level, but it has. In fact, here it actually broke above it, pulled back, and it's taken off. It's doing its first move from the 50-period moving average that it has done. The last time it did that was October 2021. So, and obviously keeping in mind that conditions can always change, it does appear, ladies and gentlemen, as though we are at the start of the next bull market. Okay, the next bull market move. Apple, look at that. Boom, keeps going. We've still got bearish divergence. Okay, so here we go. Now we have problems, the things that I don't like to see. I don't like seeing bearish continued. Multiple bearish divergences while we get fresh highs. We also get a very flat level breakout here, so I don't like that. So we got the monthly candle, looks really good. What does it mean, really, if I have to interpret it? To me means that the market is becoming exhausted. It's becoming exhausted, which means as it approaches this, it becomes more likely that it's going to take a bit of a hit if it does that. So I have to mention it, but aside from that divergence, price action, everything looks fantastic. Amazon. So Amazon sits on my list because it's just gone bullish here on the weekly. as in not over the 50-period moving average, but the 10 and 20 have started to cross over, and that's a good sign. Once we get above that 50-period moving average, that could be it. We could see Amazon start to work its way back up to its highs, which is great news. AT&T is trying to turn around, but man, this is just struggling at the moment. I need to put some time aside and actually dig a little bit deeper as to why AT&T is suffering a bit on that. Then we've got this downtrend here. We've got Cathie Wood's ARK testing these levels here. This is the innovation ETF. It's also a little bit IT heavy, which IT stock heavy or tech stock heavy, which is potentially why it's struggling there. So this one is not looking that good. We'll leave this for now. Glencore battling a little bit over here, but this area is still important. Should we break the high of April or break the low? That's really what it's going to be about. So I'll be watching that 500 level. So if we do head back up, that's all we have to do. We really just have to go back up above this level, and then the likelihood of us going back into an uptrend increases. Tesco needs a bit of a retracement, but looks fantastic. Otherwise, look at this coming back into all-time highs. Okay, so that's not all-time highs, I beg your pardon. Recent highs, I beg your pardon. So I'm just going to mark that, put that in there. Okay. Then we go through to Amex. Okay, so Amex really testing this, trying to get a bit stronger here. That's what the look is for April, I beg your pardon. So that's not a strong sign. So again, a break below this would see an acceleration to the downside. So far, two that I would think should be looking strong but aren't are Apple and Amex. Berkshire Hathaway, on fire. It has definitely, I'm going to call it, it has broken out of that danger zone. Can I do this? Can I do this? Can I remove it? Yeah, I'm going to remove it. It's out of the danger zone now. Okay, it's really good. That's a beautiful monthly uptrend, guys. Your very definition. Low to a high, higher low, higher high, closing near the highs. That is phenomenal. Perfect. Beautiful. No doubt. Bullish. Coca-Cola is going to be similar, but it is at its high. So is it going to break to new highs? That's important. I would check what's the high we got over here. 65, 27, and so yeah, we've got what's this one at 64.99. So there we go. Just do your 28 points and you're up. Looks good. Looks like it's ready to take another run. It's a bit overextended on the weekly. I want to see a pullback, but that looks good. We've got BP also just hovering near the highs. Might do a breakout. Nice little bullish candle there. Might do a breakout and then be free of that danger zone. Okay, ExxonMobil, same thing again, similar. Same, look at that, but look at the monthly. Look at this beautiful pullback, crisp. Little sort of doji candle there with a nice little nice rejection wick over that and a nice break above that. So also looking good. Not sure why I was stumbling there. General Motors hovering in this area, just courting weakness. Doesn't really know what it wants to do. There's nothing great there. Morgan Chase looking good. That's a nice little bullish inside candle. This could very well lead to a fresh high on that side. And then we have a look at Adidas. So Adidas obviously been through a lot in the last year with regards to media and social media. I want to see them break above this. Can that happen? Yes, it could. It could break up, pull back, and then continue to the upside there. From a weekly perspective, it is technically in an uptrend. It has got no bearish divergence. It is above the 50-period moving average. So what would I expect it to do? So here's where I would expect it to sort of head down, bounce off the moving averages, off that 50-period moving average, which will be coming under here, and then take a move off. So certainly I'm going to be watching Adidas over the next couple of weeks for a nice little bullish candle. Anything like this would be great. I would be happy with any of those, even possibly a little bit of a doji thing there. So yeah, that will do it for me. Okay, then we've got Meta. Meta's doing phenomenally well. And they're doing very well. Actually, from the lows here, they're doing phenomenally well. Where it starts to make sense when you look at something like this is when you go to higher time frames. So you go to a yearly time frame, or let's go in between. Let's bring it back and not go so crazy at them. Quarterly, that's where you tend to get a nice little sense of that, why it's possibly taken off. And so a little bit more perspective on that. But that being said, it's had a massive move up and is absolutely overdue for a pullback at some point, but it looks nice and healthy here. So it's gapped up. We got a really nice move there. For now, I would be looking to see how it copes up until what's the next level appears about 253, 250. So let it do that. But yeah, Meta's doing all right. Morgan Stanley just choppily working its way up, but that's a bullish inside candle, so that could lead to the upside there. Nvidia also very, very well. Now, Nvidia is one of those ones where it's in almost everyone's laptops, most people's desktops. You've got Intel, Nvidia, and you've got, which is the other one that I'm missing now, which is AMD Ryzen. Those are pretty much it. So I know people are going to get rid of or stop using those. If anything, they're gaining. So that's why I would expect this to keep going. Okay, that could be very interesting as a potential breakout consolidation. Breakout. Interesting to me. So it is kind of silly because at the time we had a big drop across the board, and that means that good companies get pulled back down. And this is what Buffett and Peter Lynch, they'll always be saying this kind of stuff. And actually, this is one of the ones that I missed. I remember saying I really like it, and I remember talking about it breaking to the upside. But that particular bullish candle over there in itself could arguably have been stated as that's it. It's hit the 50-period moving average. That's a higher risk buy signal. But I missed it. Okay, you live and learn. So now we've got a consolidation happening here with Netflix, but I think it has a good shot. Nice little double bottom there. So you've got these wicks over here. Move up, pull back, wicks, bullish candle, and a break to the upside here. I think we're going to see it break out of here. So that looks good. PayPal has already started to break free of that mold. We've had all these green candles here. It's looking more and more and more. Look at this. Looks like that is very, very keen to break high. Once it gets above that 50-period moving average, the game changes. Spotify technology, there we go. I want to comment on this. I want to add another little one, but there's definitely a nice little bullish candle there. That's a mess, and actually that is a problem. So I'm going to mark this as a danger zone because look at this. That is not right. So that I'm going to mark as a danger zone. It needs to get through that. And I think the day it does will be a massive breakout candle. So it might come down, but I think the only thing that's going to get it to the other side is going to be like a steam train that does that. Okay, we got Spider. Also looking okay. There's a nice little bullish candle. Good continuation from there. Yeah, I think that's got upside potential. FedEx is also trying to do it. I prefer this one here, so I'm going to bring that one down there. That makes more sense to me, and we don't need you anymore. So again, it's a bounce. Look how it broke above the 50-period moving average here. Move above it, came down, nice bullish engulfing candle, up a bit. And so again, we needed to come back down possibly to that below the 220, I would say closer to 215 and then take off. Tesla. So Tesla is in a weekly downtrend. So let's just highlight that it is in both a weekly downtrend and a monthly downtrend. Okay, so that means that longer term positions and medium term positions have adopted a bear selling or bearish approach to this. Okay, so that's where it is, and actually that's how it's going to close. Closing above the low isn't so bad. Closing below the low would not be a good sign. It's also cautious about where it is on that 50-period moving average, because the closer it gets to closing on the other side of that, the more it becomes likely it's going to continue down further, way further. So that's why I'm watching this, and you can see how much it pushed back to just stay back above that line. It still sits in the danger zone. Okay, so still sits in the danger zone. So this week I'm going to be watching it. If we see these markets heading up and we see Tesla going down, then it is reasonable to assume that it is particular to Tesla. Okay, if it doesn't, if we see everything else move up and Tesla recovers, we're fine. And if everything else heads south and Tesla heads south, we'll see that. Okay, good. Vanguard. Bullish. Look really good. Look at this breakout here. Breakout through this level, pull back, bullish engulfing candle closing right near the highs. That's a continuation candle. That's also really a nice bullish formation. I would say we're at the beginning of this on its way up. Okay, so I like that. All right, bonds. Okay, so treasuries. No one's buying them yet. They are sort of hovering around this level. I think they've bottomed, looking at the monthly price action here, but they're not going any higher. So there is something happening there. Euro bonds as well. Also, it's holding at this level, but it's not going above a certain level. So nothing happening there. And cryptos. So even cryptos are doing really well. The weekly, look at that pullback in a bullish candle. We've got the 50, 20, and 10. If we apply the same rules as we do with the equities, cryptos are now in a bull market again. They're in their next bull run. Okay. If we apply it, we're above the 50 on the monthly. We're at a major level. So if we break through this level, if we get above 30,000, which it looks like the weekly is getting ready to do, which we might see happen this week, we're likely to see these continue up. Ethereum is almost certainly in a good position. That's a very nice bullish candle. This was a failed attempt to get up there. Couldn't do it here. Got further this time. Next time it's likely to succeed. We'll see. It's cruised above the 50-period moving average. I prefer Ethereum at this time. Looks very good. Solana looks right. That's a bit of a consolidation. There'll likely be a breakout. Cardano, pullback. Same thing in this one. It's still trapped beneath that 50-period moving average, but it is a breakout pullback and a setup here. So really want to see that start to turn around at least and see it get pulled to the upside along with everything else. Okay, and that's it. Really, how's Anheuser-Busch doing? They're doing fine. They're just going to go back up, so there's no real worries there. And Digital World continues to drop. Okay, so there's no other major news here from me, ladies and gentlemen. There should on paper be some really good opportunities this week in equities as indices. Not going to worry too much about commodities right now. There's nothing really happening much with gold and crude oil. I'm going to wait for them to make a move and then find out about, and then start joining into it. And currencies are looking good. So there's some great opportunities there, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much. Any feedback you want to put into the comment section below is always appreciated. Thank you. Have a great week.